If you're a golfer who's trying to stay centered during your swing, that's the one move that is killing your consistency and your distance. I'm going to show you using the force plates why the theory of staying centered is often misunderstood and how we actually need to move to properly stay centered for an effective golf swing. So in my experience, golfers and golf coaches principally try to keep very centered during the swing with very little or no movement from a side-to-side motion. So the best players in the world often look like they're not moving and staying very centered, when in reality this isn't quite the case, and we know that through biomechanical data. So very much I see too many amateur golfers trying to keep their head straight and fixated, the center of the chest, the center of the hips, with no movement. So what ends up happening is they create a backswing position that hasn't moved, that creates very little turn, it's a very rigid motion, and it causes all kinds of issues on the way down, getting stuck, hanging back, hitting the ground early, sliding through, trying to get ahead of the ball, causing all types of missed strikes. So let's look at what staying centered effectively actually is and how we can improve some motion in the golf swing. So we know through biomechanical data the best ball strikers in the world who are the most consistent, hit the ball the furthest, move their pressure in a certain way both in the backswing and downswing to aid delivery of the club. Yet amateurs often move in the opposite direction and in many ways are taught to move differently without knowing why. So as I was saying is, I'm looking at pressure here. Now pressure is the individual feeling of weight under each foot in a vertical sense. So if I kind of move to my right side, I've got 100% pressure on my right. If I obviously then move to my left, I've got 100% pressure. But I've also, all my weights moved there to create that. Now I could go back to center and almost create quite a lot of pressure into my trail side, my right, and my mass has stayed relatively centered. So how we move the pressure is very important in the golf swing and quite a hard thing to understand. Now if I try to stay centered, so watch me stay centered, very neutral, I'm very centered, looks good visually, but we can see there that most of my pressure's stayed left in the golf swing. So I'm not getting a shift, a big shift to the right in the way we're looking for. Now a lot of golfers think this sway motion becomes a real negative and is the root cause of their problems. But as I was saying, the best ball strikers by mid backswing, so P2 let's say, shaft parallel of the ground, they've moved nearly all their pressure, they've peaked out, they've maxed their pressure into their trail foot. So if I go to that position and I was to say, right, can I lift my left foot off the ground and the pressure not change? And the answer should probably be no. I'm essentially not moved enough pressure into my trail side and I've got too much on my left. Now if I do more pressure shift, majority now is moved into my trail side. So I've actually shifted pressure, maxed out early. But the key then is as I go to the top, now I've started to move more left. So that's the recentering motion. Now, as you look at this on camera, yes, there might be a bit of shift and sway here, but by the time I'm back up to the top, I've shifted back here. So that will look a very centered turn, even though pressure has moved a long way. So then if I'm able to shift back to center, I'm now in a ready position to push, extend and rotate. Whereas if I stay centered, I've gone left, from here, where am I pushing from? Because I've not created any force from my trail side to my lead side, so the chances are I'm even going to pull the handle down, get stuck, lean back, all kinds of issues there, or I'm going to stay there, slide, get on top of it, and again, all kinds of issues. So how we move pressure is essential. Now let's look at a drill, a really simple drill, where we can almost measure your pressure shift and improve it just by hitting golf balls. So this is a really simple drill that we see even a lot of the pros working on, is the step-in drill. Now the step-in drill, if you think about this logically, is if I was to start with my lead foot in line with the ball and my trail foot just in its natural position, as I take the club away and step, that movement there, if you look closely, is essentially me peaking out my max pressure by that P2 position, because as I'm stepping, all of my pressure, 100% of my pressure has to be on my trail side because my left foot is off the ground, okay? Now because I've maxed out there, as I step down, again, naturally, I've already started to shift left. So that's that recentering. So already started to shift left long before I've even reached the top of my backswing. So then that gives me loads of time to push off my right, complete my backswing, which is now that big, powerful separation. And if I swing through, I'm on top, okay? Now, if you struggle with pressure shift, doing this drill, you're going to have all kinds of problems because the sequence and the timing is going to be off and it's going to show that up. But by practicing and developing it, sometimes without a ball, it's amazing how much difference you'll see. So I'm going to do this in slow motion. So I'm going to go just lots of rehearsals. So I'm going to be thinking, as that club literally starts to move away, mentally, you've got to be thinking step left. Okay? So all I'm doing is rehearsing that. So lead side's going left, upper body's going right. So that's separation. And then learning to sequence that, I'm going to get a bit longer, a bit faster, and now I'm going to see if I can hit the ball like that. So I'm going to start probably a little bit slower. Now that was as good as I can hit it. That felt like I had loads of time through the ball, and that's not an easy drill to do. Okay, let's try that again. So with the feeling of start small, really start. And you see, the key here is I've got so much flow and rhythm. I'm not trying to go get to there, then step and rigid, which would be positional based, which would be very much the theory of feeling like I'm staying centered. We've got to be dynamic. We've got to feel athletic. And then we've got to be committed. So this is like almost throwing a ball. And you can see my follow through, I'm all the way on my left. I'm able to extend up and I'm able to extend through with my arms. Now, we know there has to be some form of sway here to move from right to left and move through it, but no one in their right mind would say that's a negative sway because we know moving left, getting on top of it and extending through is what all the best players do. So we know sway is positive, but how we sway, when we sway, and how much is the answer. So I'm going to hit one more of them. I'm going to be as explosive as I can. And like I say, liken this to throwing a ball. I would step, I'd push, and I'd extend. Whereas the other move would almost be throwing a ball where we try and do this all at one go. And we can see there's no separation, and that's going to reduce power and accuracy. So one more go. And that's as good as I've hit the ball striking in a long time. So that probably says something even for myself. So in theory, if you like those drills, give it a go. Comment below, like this video, subscribe to the channel as it means a lot. And if you want more biomechanical drills to improve your game, you can sign up to my Golf Performance app. Details in the description below to play your best golf this season.